Hi, my name is Casey and welcome to Heartwarming Flow. You're going to, in this class, have experience to be grounded and connected. We're going to be doing lots of broad heart opening moves, but also some flow for some energy and movement. So hopefully that will help us all to stay grounded and connected during these times. I'm going to start. You could maybe start, I'm going to sit for a minute, but if you could start just lying on your back in Shavasana. And in Shavasana, you're just lying on the floor, all parts of your body, you're kind of paying attention to where your body's reaching the floor, and just relaxing, feeling yourself melt into the floor. Let go of anything that might have been on your mind as you came in or turned on this class today. Feel yourself in the room, noticing the surroundings where you are, and bringing yourself into the class, the sounds, the smells, the experience of being in the class. And I'm going to begin with a reading today that's sort of related to the theme of heart opening. So just settle on the mat as I go through this. I've been referred to as odd before. Nowadays, I prefer to refer to myself as Awed, A-W-E-D. I want to be the greatest ongoing relationship in my life. I want to move through my days floored by the magnificence and generosity of life, the breaking of a day, the silence between words, the light emanating from a real conversation, and kindness, truth, love, and the apparently random hand of grace. I want to be rendered speechless by wonder. I await the next unfolding. Peace, friends. Be odd today. And as you're feeling odd and feeling wonder, you can continue to relax on your backs on the floor. And I will now join you here. And as you're sort of settling in, just notice your breath and take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And on your next breath in, bring your arms up over your head and stretch your toes out as far as you can, the biggest stretch that you possibly can, taking a nice deep breath in. And exhale, let yourself relax. Inhale, another deep, deep stretch in. And then let yourself relax on the floor. And keep your arms overhead, and in the same position, just walk your feet on the floor out toward the right, and move your arms out also toward the right. So you're forming a crescent moon shape on your floor. Your shoulders are relaxing on the floor, your hips are both centered on the floor. And if it feels good, you can take your right hand and just grab your left wrist and kind of give it a little tiny gentle pull. Deep inhale here. Another inhale and release. And on your next inhale, bring yourself back into center. Settle yourself again on the floor. And with your next inhale, just start to draw your feet out toward the left, walking them out, and your hands to the left also walking out. And your left hand can grab your right wrist just to give a nice gentle pull. Deep inhale, feeling that lovely stretch up and down the right side of your body. Exhale. And then bring yourself back to center. Deep inhale and exhale, and draw your knees into your chest and just a little bow. And drawing on top of your right hand. Take a deep breath in here, and we're going to go in a circle around our body, just stretching our arm out, moving anything, I know I left my block behind me that's in your way, out of the way. Just feeling a nice stretch as you bring your arm all the way around. Bring it to center and pause. Inhale and do the same. Really noticing your arm might want to lift above the floor in certain places. You might find some places that are tight or stiff. Maybe pause in those places for a moment and feel the stretch. When your arms are out in a T, your head can be looking back over your left arm. And then draw your hand back around. And bringing it forward so your left hand is resting on your right. On your next inhale, begin this process going in the other direction, still with your left hand, moving downwards over your body, stretching out to the T, and looking out over your left hand, drawing your hand up and around. Going slowly. You don't want to make this too fast. If you find you're going quickly, you might want to slow down a little bit. Bring yourself back to center. And then on an inhale, bring yourself back around. Then bring yourself back to center. And from center, on your next inhale, take your left hand and just kind of draw it right across the top of your right hand, across your body and out into the T. And then draw your knees up and over so that you're lying on your other side, rolled up in the same form as you were before. And I'm going to scooch around this way so I can see you. You can see me. And from this position, we now have our right hand on top and our left hand at the bottom, our knees pulled into the side, all of our side body on our mat. Take an inhale and draw your arms up and around. Noticing when you come out to the T that your head looks forward over to your right hand. And draw yourself back so that your right hand lands on your left hand. Continue moving around, remembering to go slowly to let yourself feel the spots that are maybe a little bit creaky, that maybe you need to lift your arm off the floor a little bit. And draw your hand back around. And when you rest here, then take your hand, we're going to go in the other direction. So we bring our arm down and around over our bottom, out in the T, feeling a really heart-opening stretch here. Back up and around. And then rest our hands for one breath. And then bring it around for a final round. Really slow. Again, noticing spaces that need and enjoy this stretch the most. And then pause, take a breath, and notice how you feel. And from here, we're going to move ourselves sitting up and moving into a table position. In a table position, you start with your knees just directly under your hips, and your knees are hip distance apart. Draw your hands down with your hands, your fingers open wide, and your wrists are just below your shoulders. And starting here, we're just going to explore a little bit and stretch a little bit. So imagining that your nose is a pencil, you can be drawing a figure 8 with your nose, just moving around, making sure your hips are moving, your shoulders are feeling the stretch. And then pause in the middle and bring yourself back around the other way, just still with a pencil, drawing a nice big figure 8, feeling that stretch through your hips. And then bring yourself back, make yourself central into a neutral position in your table. Take a breath in and out here. On your next inhale, we're going to draw our right arm up. So keep your left hand really steady on the ground. It's still with your fingers splayed out. And draw your right arm up, just straight up toward the ceiling. The opening that we did should help with the movement here. And then take an inhale here, and on your exhale, draw your hand down and thread it underneath your left arm and bring your right shoulder right down onto the ground. You might want to move your right arm out a little bit. Just feeling a nice cross-shoulder stretch here. And on an inhale, bring yourself back up to center, bring your arm back up. Just drawing it up toward the ceiling, looking up, out to the side or up towards your arm if it's comfortable for you, and then draw your hand back down to center. And reestablish yourself with your hands right under your shoulders. Your next inhale, draw your left arm up, again drawing your eyes to follow your hand, and then guiding that hand down, sliding your left arm under your right shoulder, and drawing yourself into a nice stretch stretch through the back of your shoulders and on your left shoulder. Take a few breaths in and out here. Noticing the stretch. Maybe you're melting into it further as well. Draw your hand back and again raise it up toward the ceiling, looking up toward it, and then bring your hands back down and form yourself back into neutral and just notice how you feel. Notice what might be feeling different for you at this point. From here, we're going to walk ourselves up so that we're actually standing on our knees with them like still hip distance apart. Take a big inhale here, looking out toward the front of your mat. Your head is parallel to your mat. And on an inhale, draw your arm up and around as if you're putting your hand into the pockets of your jeans and your left arm the same way up and around and into the other side pockets. Going into a camel here. So first of all, really steady yourself with your hands on the back, on your back here, your lower back. Take a deep breath in and keep the front of your body flat. So we're not going to be going and bending the body here as if you were leaning against a wall. And with an inhale, we're going to gently draw our eyes up. I'd say to the sky, but it's probably to the ceiling. And just kind of explore how comfortable you are and how far you can draw your eyes up and back without compromising the flatness of your stomach and your chest. Really big heart-opening move here. This is camel. Deep breath in. Exhale. One more in. Exhale. And then gently draw your eyes forward. And bring yourself down to sit back on your heels and just for a moment drop your head down and rest. Sometimes doing camel can make us feel a little bit dizzy, so just relax into a resting position here. And then draw your hands back into the position they were in table, but bend your knees, your toes over and lift your knees up just a bit and bring yourself up into downward dog. And in downward dog, your feet are just a little bit apart, not quite hip distance apart. You're walking maybe your dog out, kind of stretching out the backs of your legs, of your left leg, your right leg. And then a nice big stretch back, feeling it up the upper part of your thighs. And then look toward the front and just tiptoe your toes up so that you're now in a forward fold. So your feet again are hip distance apart. Your hands might be touching the ground, swaying on the ground in a rag doll. They might not quite reach the ground. Gathering all the air, bring your hands into prayer position and down to your center. And with the next inhale, draw your arms back up again. Exhale, bring yourself down with a flat back, down into a forward fold. Lift your hands just below your knees and your back is parallel to the floor. Flat back, halfway fold. Step your hands to the ground and lift your right leg and stretch it so that you're in a plank position. And in this position, keeping your back as flat as possible, your hands and your wrists right below your shoulders. Just take a breath or two here to gain some strength. And then lower your knees and gently drawing your elbows in as close to your sides as you can. Lower yourself down all the way to the floor. Inhale, exhale. On your next inhale, bring yourself up into baby cobra. And here you're keeping your eyes looking down toward the floor. The backs of your feet are pressing into the floor, the tops of your feet. And you're really just resting gently on your hands. You're not using your hands to push you up. They're just kind of there resting on the floor. Inhale, and on an exhale, bring yourself up through table, back into downward dog. And with your right leg coming forward, bring yourself back into forward fold. Inhale, rising up, and an exhale all the way down into a forward fold. And just rest here for a moment. We're going to do 2 more flows, and you can decide the ways that you want to do them. I'll explain that as we go through. Halfway lift with your back flat, Hands resting again on the floor. We didn't lift back last time, so for me it's the left leg, right leg back, into a plank position. And you might want to flow through this with your knees above the floor. I'm going to drop my knees onto the floor. And in this one, I'm just going to graze the ground and bring myself up into a full cobra. So my knees are still on the floor. It's a heart opening exercise. Bring yourself back and up into downward dog. And I'm going to lift my left leg forward again and bring myself into forward fold. Exhale, flowing back down. And here again, you can stay in a full plank with your knees up or drop your knees down and just kind of bring yourself again down, keeping your elbows close into you. And here we can go into a full upward dog. In an upward dog, the tops of our feet are on the floor, our knees are lifting up, and our heart is really looking forward, and our head is parallel to the floor and kind of gazing slightly upward. Bring ourselves back into downward dog. And we're just going to walk out here a little bit, resting ourselves from downward dog. Maybe be still. And then lift your left leg up to the ceiling, and then draw it forward and through under your hands, and turn your back leg sideways. So you've got your front leg into a warrior two. And in warrior two, the back of our heel in the front should be pretty much parallel with the middle of our back foot. We are got our knee not forward above the ankle, but just above the ankle. And your arms kind of floating out to the side, your chest out on sort of an angle from the top of your mat. Breathing in and out. You should feel really strong, grounded. Try to feel all four sides of your feet on the floor. Just gaze over your middle fingers. Your hands should feel as if they're kind of floating on water, so they're kind of relaxed. Your shoulders are down, they're not hiked up. Take a nice deep breath in here. And on your exhale, draw your right hand down your leg and switch your hand to be up toward the sky and coming back into exalted warrior. And here we're just really keeping the bottom of our body in the same position and really just looking up toward the sky or toward the ceiling, feeling again another nice long stretch through our chest and through our heart. Take an inhale, and on our next inhale, we bring our left elbow down to our left knee. And again, our knee is still bent. And take your right arm and just kind of windmill it all the way up. You might want to keep it looking up toward the ceiling, or you may want to draw it over so it's almost touching your ear. A lateral twist. And from here, we're going to come back up into a warrior two. And we're going to straighten our legs. And I mentioned earlier, if you have a block, you might want to have the block beside you here. So your legs are both straight at this time, still facing sideways into the front. Drawing your arms out as in warrior two. And take your upper body, and just as if you're reaching forward with your left hand, and then topple yourself over sideways. And we're forming a triangle here. And when we form a triangle, pretty much all of our body is in different forms of a triangle shape. And you might have your hand just on the inside of your shin. You might want to reach for a block on any setting. Just rest here, feeling the stretch. And next inhale, bring yourself back up. And we're going to just turn our feet around so that if you have a block, you can bring it with you. So that our right foot is now facing forward, our left foot is facing sideways, our knee is over our ankle, and just nice, bringing our arms up. Once again, we're floating in that nice warm water. And our arms are just kind of out in space. Nice expansion through our chest. Take a few breaths in and out here, feeling the strength of being solid in this pose. Then on an inhale, draw your left arm down the back of your leg and turn your right hands upward toward the ceiling or the sky, and then bring your hand up again, exalted warrior here. And our body is in the same form as it is in warrior 2, but we're looking up, gazing up above our heads toward the sky, toward the ceiling. Deep breath in and out. And the next inhale, bring your right arm down so it rests on your right knee. And draw your left arm up, so you could be looking just straight up, so it's sort of like a triangle pose, but not quite yet. Or you can draw this arm so it just comes up over your head and almost touches your ear. Feeling a stretch up and down the right side of your body and feeling the strength still in your feet firmly planted on the floor. And inhale. And on your exhale, we're going to draw our legs so that they're both straight, arms still straight, and just lean forward as if you're reaching forward with your front hand and tip yourself over into your triangle pose. Here again, we're trying to have our arms straight up to the ceiling, other arm straight down, legs straight. You can have your hand at the inside of your shin. You might have your hand on your block, or you may have your hand all the way down to the floor. Take some breaths in and out here. Bring yourself back up to standing. And then draw your feet back, or your hands back to your hips, and turn your feet so that they're both facing the long side of your mat. Your legs are still quite far drawn out. You might want to even make them a little bit further drawn out with your toes pointing slightly inward. Bring yourself up into a big breath, and bring yourself down. We're going into a wide-legged forward fold. And here, your hands might be on the ground. You might want your block if the ground seems too far away. And just kind of rest here, feeling quite a stretch up and down the backs of your legs and your hips, and letting your head and your neck just relax down. A few breaths in and out here. And then draw yourself, first put your hands up just above your knees and draw yourself up into standing. And heel toe your feet in toward each other and maybe pointing the front of your mat. Have your toes just to the edge of your mat. And we're going into a squat. And a lot of people do a squat with your feet flat. I don't. I do a squat with my feet, my heels up. So bringing yourself down into a squat, getting your balance. And in a squat, you can use your elbows to kind of draw your knees a little bit further out for a bit of a stretch up and down the insides of your legs. And from this position, we'll see how graciously we can do this. We're going to graciously work our way down onto the floor. So you might want to put your hands down, maybe draw your legs out, and bring yourself so that you're at the top of your mat. And we're in a staff position. In a staff position, we're actually as if we're almost standing on our feet on the floor here. So our toes are pointing upwards. Our legs are just together against each other. Our hips and our sit bones are right flat on the floor. Take a deep breath in and out here. And our back is kind of straight up. It's nice and reaching up towards the ceiling. Inhale, drawing your arms out wide. And on an exhale, you bring yourself forward with your back still flat. So you're just kind of leaning forward toward your toes. Draw your hands out over your toes. And then let your back bend a little. Your head could come down, and your hands might rest on your ankles. They might rest on your toes. They might be resting on your knees, wherever's comfortable for you, just kind of falling forward. Deep breath in and out here. And rise on your inhale. And keeping your left leg out, draw your right leg in so that your foot is against the inner thigh of your left leg, and your knee is reaching out, kind of almost perpendicular to the mat. Take a deep breath in. And as you fall forward, you can take your left hand down to the inside of your left leg and draw your right arm up overhead, and perhaps kind of lying forward towards, so as if you're reaching forward over your feet. Take a few breaths in and out here, feeling the stretch and the opening up and down the side of your body. Draw yourself back up. Reach forward and place your feet, your right foot back down and your left foot on the inside of your right thigh. Deep inhale. Exhale, a twist forward with your right hand on the inside of your leg and your left arm facing up to the ceiling. And if it's comfortable, working its way forward over so that it's pointing out over your toes. Take a few breaths in and out here. Draw yourself back up to seated. And while you're still seated, you could be on the long part of your mat. I'm going to turn this way so you can see what I'm doing a little bit more. I'm in a lotus position. You may not want to do that. You may want to have your feet still out forward or some other position that's comfortable for you. But in this position, just feeling your sits bones grounded, feeling your back tall and straight. We're going to do a twist from here, and it's important that we start this with our back straight, our head forward, our neck comfortable, and that we twist kind of using the different vertebrae in our back. And so that we don't slouch into the twist, we keep ourselves tall as we do it. So in this, drawing your arms up with an inhale, and on an exhale, we're going to do the twist with our body straight, and we bring our right hand down behind our seat, and then our left hand over our right knee. And you might just kind of want to look out over where the hand is, or you might want to turn your back a little bit further and look over your right shoulder. Feeling a twist up and down the back, your back, your shoulders. And inhale, bringing your arms back out and bringing them around the other direction. Again, keeping your back straight and upright, your hands just right behind your seat. Take a deep breath in as you look out over your knee, and then gently see if you're comfortable to kind of just draw your gaze a little bit further over your shoulder. Deep breath in here. And exhale, bring yourself back to center. And with your feet at the top of your mat and your knees bent slightly, your feet just a bit apart, not quite hip. Your arms up, looking forward, and again, your back nice and straight. And we're going to work our way gracefully down to the floor and taking several breaths as we go down. So we get a little bit of core work here as we do this. So deep breath in, and lower a bit on your exhale. Inhale. Just kind of work your way down on your own time with your own breath. Once you settle on the floor, keep your feet in close to your seat so you can kind of almost reach the edges of your feet and touch them. And draw your feet so that they're out kind of hip width apart, like they're out just at the edge of your mat. Take a deep breath in here. First, settle your back and your shoulders onto the floor. And draw your arms out into a T. Then as you're inhaling and exhaling, just kind of let your legs fall back and forth like you're windshield wiping. And just kind of gently start with not maybe too much movement, a little bit more each time they go. And it will probably feel natural for you to have your head go in the opposite direction of your knees. So as you're doing this, and your knees fall to the right, your head can gently fall to the left. Keep breathing in and out. Your knees fall to the left, your head can fall to the right. And then just notice if you're really kind of finding that you've got a little bit more movement here now and your knees are falling a little bit closer to the floor. Just let that happen. Remember to breathe. The next time your knees come up to the center, just let them come up to center. Take a few breaths in and out here, just feeling that stretch and seeing how you're feeling after all this movement. And with your feet still at the outside of your mat, at the edges of your mat, let your knees fall in together. This is a constructive rest pose. So this should feel very good for your back. Your knees should be supporting each other. Your lower back should be almost but not quite on the floor. Take a few breaths in and out here. Deep breath in, draw your feet so that they're parallel to each other, and then draw them back in towards your chest, and you're back in little boat. And you might want to be still in little boat at this point, or you may want to rock a little bit back and forth. Over your head, your feet all the way down, just stretch long, opening all your body up, your full front body open. Exhale, and then just bring your arms down by your side and settle yourself onto your mat for Shavasana. And in Shavasana, you really do nothing. You just lie here, you let your feet fall whatever way's comfortable, noticing where your legs, your shins, your hips are touching the floor. You might want to take your hands and just kind of turn them outward a little bit so that your palms are facing upward. That will help with heart opening. Notice and relax your shoulders on the floor. Let your head be heavy. And allow yourself to rest here. Breathing in and out, returning to a natural breath. Certainly, you can stay resting here. You can turn your video off and stay resting here for as long as you're comfortable. But if you're ready and you'd like to join me in closing the class, bring yourself back up to seated. Any comfortable position for you that rests your sit bones on the floor and allows you to be upright. Draw your arms up, grabbing all that air in. Exhale with your hands down to heart center. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.